Good afternoon, everybody. SFC Defined Live at 5. We are back on a beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me for part three of our series, You First. Um, Before we get into what we're going to talk about today, let me thank you guys for subscribing to the Corey A. Grady's website. I sent out the books that I promised you, Mildred Mann's book called How to Find Yourself. The first 10 of y'all, you got it. And if you haven't received it yet, it's not because I didn't put it in the mail. It's just because the mail is slow. But if you haven't received it, reach out to us and we'll make sure that we get a copy in your hand. This book is amazing. Um, here is something that she says. The question that she asked on the back cover of the book at the top, it says, how do we find ourselves? We do so by going within. We get to know ourselves, to understand how we are made, and then we learn to use the magnificent power within us. We do it by understanding the mind, what it is, and how it works. I mean, that was enough to grab my attention right there. This is a powerful book, and it is so relevant to what we have been talking about over the past few weeks. You first. Um, so I'm hoping that you get a chance to read it. If you did not get one that I sent or were not able to because you were not of the first 10 subscribers, then you can go to Amazon. The book literally is maybe $5 or $6 at the most. And I believe it is an investment into yourselves that you would thank me for later. So go in and get that book, Mildred Mann, How to Find the Real Self. And it is a powerful book. It blessed me. And I hope that you will read it and we can talk about it later on. Okay. I'm excited because I want to hear what you got to say about it. So let's get into what we're talking about. So we've spent this last a few months or the last couple of weeks rather talking about taking care of yourself first, doing what you need to do to make yourself better as it relates to how better is defined by you, nobody else. Like nobody else. It's not about what anybody thinks about you. It's not about anybody else's definition of better or being the best you. It's about you and your perception of yourself, going within yourself, figuring out what the best version of you is and what it looks like. So I want you to chime in. Hey, Sonia, I want you to chime in today because we're going to get into stuff. I have really been thinking about this just for me. Like, this week in particular, it's been one of those weeks where I've sort of had to slow down a little bit. And as I slowed, it got me into a place where I had to do some reflection for me. And there are areas of my life that I am still trying to correct, areas that I'm still trying to put together, pull together, so that when I present it out to public viewing, then I'm good with it. Hey, Derek, appreciate you. I hope you got your book, man. I hope you got it already. It was mailed earlier in the week, so I hope you got your book. But I had to do some reflecting on who I was, what I stood for, my morals, my values, just a whole bunch of stuff, and realize that before I could be any help to anybody, I had to make sure that I was good. And as I thought about some stuff, I realized this, guys. I realized that we all are one collective body. Literally, all humankind, all of humanity, we are literally one collective body of people that were sent to this earth to mentor, to help, to evolve, to grow each other. I don't think that there is ever a bad scenario or a bad journey. It is our perception that calls it good or bad. That's just my opinion. I've gone through some stuff where I really felt like that the world was against me. But the more I realized it was me being against me because it was all of my perception. Because, like I share so many times with so many people, my worst day, my well, actually my best day is somebody else's worst day, and vice versa. My worst day is somebody else's best day, and it's all about perception. But as I started thinking, I realized that we are just one big body, and we're supposed to help each other. But here's the thing that got me and made me really think about you guys and sharing this with you. How many times have you ever tried to help somebody, and you felt like you were really the person for them to help, and you were there for them to the best of your ability, and all of a sudden it just felt like you were going nowhere? Or even better than that, there were people that you wanted to help, but you just couldn't, whether it was financial, whether it was emotional, spiritual, whatever the case may have been. How many times have you been in a position that you really had every good intention of helping somebody get from where they are to where they wanted to be? But as you tried to help them, you realized that you had nothing to give. I have been in that position, and I'll give you a quick story. When Cam Cam's dad was a little boy, we used to go in the mall. This kid was the most amazing kid. He was so amazing. Like, he would always ask me, "Can you afford to buy me that? And can you afford to buy?" And I remember I would get so angry at myself because there were times where he would ask for something like pennies that I couldn't even afford to give him. And I remember vowing and saying, "I've got to get out of this place." I wanted to help, but I had nothing to give. And so I thought about that as I was preparing for today. And I realized that when your cup is empty, you have nothing to pour into anybody. When your cup is empty, we all want to help, but you can't help when you need help yourself. And I'm talking not just financial. That was just one example. I'm not talking about just financial. I'm talking about emotional. I'm talking about mental. I'm talking about just support in general. If you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't always have something being put in you, if you're not always trying to fill your cup, you won't ever have anything to give. I believe it was either Iyanla Van Zant, however you say her name, or Maya Angelou or Oprah Winfrey, all of them, they said that whatever is in your cup is for you. Whatever goes out of the cup is for other people. When you say my cup runneth over, it's what's on the outside of the cup that you're able to give. So in order for you to be able to give something, you have to make sure your cup is overflowing. So you have to take care of yourself first. How do you do that? How do you pour in? You've got to learn how to sometimes self promote, is what I say. You have to self encourage. You have to do all of these things, because sometimes when you're needing somebody, I went through a period in my life where I knew that there was more. I felt so empty. And this was about 5 or 6 years ago, that I've never felt more empty in all of my entire life. Like, I had given to the point that I had absolutely nothing else to give anybody. And it frustrated me. And I kept making excuses. I don't have anybody to pour into me. There's nothing that I can find. I don't have. And I was like, you know what? Right now, we are living in a time where information is literally a click away. Anything that you want to know, you can become doctorate level and not even go to school. Literally, you can have that knowledge, but you have to know how to go and find it. There's a saying: if you can't get Muhammad to the mountain, you just have to figure out how to get the mountain to Muhammad. And that became my mantra for a while. I had to figure out how to get Muhammad to the mountain. I had to figure out how to get the mountain to Muhammad so that I could be poured into. And when I started reading, I started watching and listening. The more I poured into me, the more I had to pour into other people. I'm gonna stop there. Derek says, yes, I've been there. Particularly, person was not receptive of my support because of bad experiences from other people. Absolutely. But you need to know that you have something to give. And when you have something to give, it doesn't matter if people receive it. There's always going to be somebody. And this is the other thing that I found. There's always going to be somebody, always going to be somebody that needs you to pour into them. Everybody is not going to receive it. That has nothing to do with you. When you pour with good intention, but you have to know that you have something to give. You don't think you have to know. Because sometimes people's lives are at stake. People's emotional state is at stake. People's mental state is at stake. And you have to know that there is something in you to give. So you make sure that you fill yourself up first. Self-encouragement is a must, says Derek. Absolutely. It is. You have to understand that you're not going to always have somebody to keep you encouraged. You're not going to always have somebody to pat you on the back. And, when we get caught up in feeling like we need other people to empower us, to encourage us, to fill us up, it's not going to always be. You've got to learn how to go within. That's why I read that about Mildred Mann. Mildred Mann said, you've got to know yourself. You've got to know how you're made, and you've got to understand who you are by going within. There are so many people. There are so many people. People like me, people like you. There are so many people that don't know what it takes to fill their cup. We are still looking for our cups to be filled by other people, by degrees or by money or by opportunities. Everything that you need to help mankind is already inside of you. Every single thing that you need to empower, to motivate, and inspire is already in you. That's why you go within first. I think we talked about the airplane example and how when the cabin pressure drops or whatever, and they drop the little mask down, the instruction is you put your mask on first before you help anybody else. That's the kind of mindset that you need to embrace as it relates to life. You make sure that you are good before you try to help somebody else. You make sure that your words of empowerment or encouragement are tried and true so that you can help somebody else. Derek says, how can you come across strictly as good intentions and not as hidden agenda? That's a good question. I think that is totally character-based. I think it's totally character-based. I think when you try to be pretentious, Derek, and be somebody that you're not, and you come off that way, I don't think there is a good intention associated with that at all. I think when you have good morals, good values, your character is intact, I think that your intentions are always going to be good. I don't think there is anything such as bad advice that can be given from somebody that's got good character. This little guy I saw on TikTok, it was like, he's like, if you ever have to start over, just remember you're not starting over from scratch. You're starting over from experience. So when you open yourself up and be candid or transparent with other people, then you allow them to see the character. You don't try to hide. You don't try to be pretentious. You don't try to worry about what other folks will think or say about you, because what you're doing is giving the genuineness of who you are, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. So I think that I hope that answers your question. Your intentions, they have to be good. Otherwise, it's like, what is the point of you trying to help somebody else and you're not in a place to help them? I think that's having ill intentions or a hidden agenda when you're trying to be something that you're not, because the fact of the matter is it ain't even about the other person, it's about you. And that to me goes back to character. What are your thoughts? Anybody else? Thank you, Derek, for asking that question. But I really believe that we are in a place in time right now where when you start trying to help somebody and you realize that before you can help somebody, you have to help yourself. I think we're in a good place in our society right now where people are starting to realize that I need to heal before I can try to heal somebody else. I need to fix my finances before I try to tell other folk how to fix theirs. I need to fix my marriage before I can counsel somebody else on theirs. I need to figure out how to get out of this situation before. Let me go through the process, not of burying it, not of pushing it or putting it under the carpet, but literally healing from it. Because you know the saying, hurt people. But I got another piece of that that says, healed people heals people. And I really believe that when we get to that place where we are truly healed from all of our traumas, from all of our struggles or negative circumstances and situations, they grow us so effectively. They grow us and develop us in ways that good things don't grow us. Not saying that they don't, that the negative situations has an extra power or an extra oomph to it that will grow you in ways that it would literally blow your mind. That's why I say it's all about your perception. When you find the good, even in a bad situation, you learn from it, you grow from it, and you realize that the power of accepting it and the power of growing and grooming and developing from it is in you. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. You can decide today that you want to be healed, that you want to forgive, that you want to forget. You can make that choice today. And then that puts you in the position to talk, to counsel, to empower other people. It puts you in the position because now you are not empty, you're full, your cup is filled because you are taking. It takes something to get to a place where you are filling your cup. It takes something to get you to a place. You have to, you find speeches, motivational speeches. You find YouTube channels that will pour and develop and groom you. You find all of these things that will help you, books that you can read, lives at fives that you can watch if you want, to keep you empowered and keep you growing and going and moving forward. That's how you keep your cup filled. That's how your cup runs over. And then when you are confronted with the people that's supposed to meet you as you travel your journey, you have something to give. If you're hungry, you can't give food to somebody else that's hungry. If you're thirsty, you can't give water to somebody else that's thirsty. Make sure you're good. And then as the folk come along your journey that God meant for you to meet, meant for you to encourage, meant for you to empower, meant for you to motivate, meant for you to counsel, you have something to give them. But remember, it all starts with whether or not your cup is full. It starts with whether or not you have the ability to give them what they need, not what you think they should have. And that's the difference. That is the difference. Benny says, hey, Benny, one of the points that stuck out to me from How to Find Your Real Self was to look within to find ourselves. Absolutely. And then went on to give us tools on how to do this. I think this is a good foundation for making sure we are keeping our cup overflowed so that we are healthy and healed enough to help others. Absolutely. Well said. We definitely need to find means that we can, all of us have assignments. All of us have journeys that we have to travel down. We were sent here to travel certain journeys. We were sent here to fulfill different assignments. I think Mildred said in the book, there are no two people, even identical twins are not identical. We all have a journey that we have to travel. We all have a way that we have to go. We all have things that we must do. Otherwise, we don't leave the world better than we found it. That's our job, to leave the world better than it was when we came here. When you take care of self, and I'm not talking about dressing self up, I'm not talking about making up self, I'm not talking about bulking self up and what that ain't. I'm talking about the inside of self. When you heal self, when you empower self, when you motivate self, you get to in turn give that what you have already experienced to somebody else. That's what you get to do. That's your assignment. That is your assignment. You cannot fulfill your assignment if you don't do your homework. Okay? You cannot fulfill the assignment if you don't first take care of home, and home is taking care of you. You first. So listen, anybody else, any other thoughts, any other comments? I need y'all. Like, please, this is so good to me. I have gotten so many texts and talks. I've gotten so many people that are like, wow, I needed this. I appreciate this. I didn't realize how necessary taking care of me was to help other people. I'm telling you guys, this can change the trajectory of your life. This can change who you are and who you are able to become once you understand that, so many of us get caught up in trying to dress up the outside. So many of us get caught up in dressing up, our I call it our show face or our public viewing face. We get so caught up in dressing that up and making that look good, while all at the same time, our insides are so jacked up. We have so many holes, so many missing pieces, so many areas that need to be healed. That's why you're easily frustrated, you're easily agitated, you're easily tired, you're depressed, you're worried, you're fearful. You got all of these things, you're anxious, your body is breaking down, all because we're not taking care of what needs to be taken care of here on the inside first. Once you do that, I guarantee you everything on the outside has to align with what happens on the inside. It has to. That's a law. It has to. First within and then without. So if your insides, mentally, emotionally, who you are from the inside out is jacked up, guess what? Your outside, your atmosphere, your environment is going to be jacked up as well. That's a proven law. It is. You look at your life, and I guarantee you, the people, the circumstances, whether you want to admit it or not, they are a mirrored reflection of what's happening on the inside. I've tried it. I've had to go in and I've tried to change it. I'm like, help me to find that spot that keeps attracting these kind of people so that I can heal it, so that I can get rid of it. Because I need to attract a different caliber of people. I need to attract folk that's going to help cause me to excel. I'm going to be okay with leaving folk behind. I'm going to be okay with kindly departing from certain people just so that I can continue to evolve. You have to do that. And according to Mildred Mann in the book, How to Find Your Real Self, that's necessary for you to get to where you're trying to go in life. Okay? Listen, here's what my goal is. My hope, rather, is this. I'm hoping that moving forward, starting next Sunday, that we can come together on a Zoom, and it's going to be posted. It's going to be like a live at 5, except I'm going to be able to see your faces, and we're going to have a conversation about the topic of the month. That's what I want to do at the close of every series. So each month we'll have a new series. So the 4th Sunday or 5th Sunday of that month, I want us to just sit down, and I want to have as many Zoom people as we'll send out the link about Wednesday or Thursday prior to, and you can Zoom in whether you want to be on the phone or whether you want to be seen on camera, but we'll be able to have some conversation. I love reading body language. I love reading facial expressions. That's how I learn people. That's how I function best. I want to see your faces, and I want to hear what you have to say, because you guys inspire me as well. You motivate me, and you help me keep my cup filled so that I can overflow enough to give you something too. But can we do that? If y'all are interested in that, we're going to put the Zoom link. Can we have it out by Wednesday or Wednesday? So we'll have it out by Wednesday. You can look on our Facebook. For those of you that have subscribed to our page, CoreyAGraves.com. If you haven't subscribed, please go and subscribe. That way you'll know exactly what to do. We'll send it to you via your email, and you can just come in and chime in. I am so stoked about being able to have that one-on-one. It's going to be like a little conference that we're going to have, that we can sit down and we're going to sum up everything that we've talked about this month as it relates to this topic, You First. I know that you guys have been wonderful, giving me your comments and being able to ask your questions, but just think about how much more effective it's going to be when we can do it face to face with each other. So I am super excited. Listen out or watch out for the link that will be posted on my site, Corey Graves' site, and then the SFC Defined site. And for those of you who have subscribed already to the Corey A. Graves site, you're going to get it in email. If you haven't subscribed, please go and do that. That way you can stay on top of all that's going on. Periodically, we give gifts away. We give things away. We have special announcements. You'll know when we're doing pop-ups. You'll know when I'm speaking. I had the privilege this past Monday of speaking at Kimberly Park Elementary School in Winston-Salem. I was able to read my children's books, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience for me. So shout out to my boy that set all of that up, and to the amazing staff, faculty, administration of Kimberly Park Elementary School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So guys, thank you so much for being with me today. I truly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Always remember, stay strong, stay focused, stay confident, stay defined.